Yeah, I mean, you guys really loaded up at DB. What stands out to you about the group overall?
I think me and Coach Minner work together, just trying to find guys with speed, length, ball skills, very competitive. I think you can look at all the DBs that we have; they're very athletic. They could probably play a number of positions, and I think that's kind of what we wanted to get more of a like high ceiling, not an unfinished product. So just raw talent. That's kind of and trying to get longer as well.
Trudell Berry, like his stock really rose late. What stands out to you about him? And I know he played a lot. Like some people liked him at wide receiver. Why do you think he's a corner?
I think you can kind of look at some guys, Diggs in the league. You can look at a lot of guys that really play receiver a lot of their career, and I think you can kind of make the transition. They don't have bad habits. I think he's aggressive. He's fast. He can run. He has ball skills. He's very competitive. He watched a lot of tape, just NFL pros. He's enamored with the game. I think when you have those traits, you can look at people and say, hey, man, these guys can get better. And he has a high ceiling. So I think I think at corner, if you're not getting a kid that's played it his whole career, you got to get traits. And I think here, I like to recruit elite traits, and I think the kid has some elite traits. If he had it all together, you never know where he'll be at. But I can see that kid in a year or two, everybody's looking and saying, like, how did you find this kid, or where did he come from?
On film, these kids look like an upgrade on speed, but do you guys have times on them and 40s and 100s and all that either you took or that you trust?
Yes, I think, Coach Simmons, Smoke, Box, B. Jones, all those guys in the scouting department, they do a good job of getting a lot of data for us, and we get all the data, whether it's 40, whether it's other camps that the kid goes at. I would say every kid, either we had them in our camp or we had somebody at another camp have all the data from there, or we have film of it. There's all these different circuits that these kids go on, and we have access to their camps. So to me, that's kind of what we have done. I think that's something here that the personnel in the scouting department has done a good job of making sure we get the hard data, height, speed, see them move around, go to their games. I think, we're trying to cross every stone. That's what we're trying to do. Pick it up, find out. If he's not good at something, let's find out if we can get him better. Can we fix it? Every issue that we have. I think sometimes guys look at what kids can't do. I look at what kids can do, right? Like, look at his tape, see what he can do for our program. I think everybody has flaws, and that's why Coach Lee has hired us. We have to coach kids, get them better, and I think I'm excited about every kid that we have in the back end.
What kind of time range are we looking at for the kids you're bringing in?
We have 2 early enrollees. Gumbo Gaskin is going to be early enrollee. Steven from Maryland, he's an early enrollee. All the other kids are more, they'll come here in the summer. Is that what you meant?
That's good to know, but I meant 40 times and such.
I think Trudeau had like a 10-8, 10-9 running. I'm not sure what the other guys have, but a lot of guys that we have, they're in the 4-4, 4-5 range, or they have a legit, 10-0-2 or 10-9. They're kind of in that range. So
yeah,
a lot of our guys are going to be in the low 11s, high 10s, or they're going to be in the 4-5, 4-4 range all the times that we have.
One thing that stood out about your safeties on their highlight packages, those guys really seem to like to hit, especially the one you pulled in from Louisiana late. When you watch those guys, what does that tell you?
Well, Coach Minner's been, at the highest level. He kind of knows the traits, right? I think Coach Minner and myself working together to try to build a really good secondary here. We kind of bounce ideas off of both, So, I might love a kid and he might like him, okay. But you have 2 eyes, kind of, and just after the scouting department combs through it, now you got 2 people, right? And I think all the kids that we have signed, we both are gung-ho about it, So I think that's kind of where we just focused, And I do think we had some really good kids that we recruited here to the end. It's not like we just we had to fight off people. Kids wanted to go on the OVs on the last weekend, and we had to find out what's going on. Just recruiting them. I think this is a people element job. I think here you can win the people element here, right? I think that's important here, right? You just continue to develop kids, continue to get them better, treat them the right way. They know already the school academically speaks for itself, but I don't want this to be a football decision for the kids here, not just academics. So I think you got to get the right blend, right? You got to get a pro. We want pros. So if we're signing a kid here, we think he has pro traits. Now, we have to get him better, he has to want to work really hard. We have to do it together, right? A partnership. But we want kids that this is a football decision here.
A couple of guys look like they could play receiver. You have to fight your offensive coaches to keep some of them on that side of the ball.
Well, that's going to be Coach Lee's and those guys' decision. But I think all the kids have played either both ways or they do something on teams and stuff like that. I think we're going to use. We give the kids where we recruit them is where we start the kids at, right? I think a lot of times the football kids are aware. They know sometimes if they're playing one position. Like we had some corners last year that moved to safety, and they know that's a better spot. So I think these kids are bright. Like we're coaching world-class athletes, and also, these guys are brilliant. So kids know, if they can help in another area, they'll come to me or they'll come to coach and say, Coach, I might be number 4 here. I might be able to be the guy here, and I think that's a discussion later on. But all the guys that we have recruited in the secondary, they're playing right now is for those guys to play in the secondary. Yes, sir.
With some of the departures that you've had on your secondary, how vital is it to get, such a deep and versatile recruiting class?
Well, I think every year, I think every year you're going to have attrition in programs, right? The cool thing about the attrition here is these guys actually graduated, right? So I think that's, they're not leaving because, all the guys that I have in my room that's leaving, they graduated, you know what I'm saying? So they're like graduated or they're not coming back for their 5th or 6th year. So to me, I think that's normal. And I think that's something that I encourage guys, once you graduate at a place, it's, when you're married, like Alan George, I love Alan George, but he's married, you know what I'm saying? So he's going to come back here another year. I think it's time for him to try to see, he's been working really, really hard for this time. He was thinking about leaving last year. He came back this year and wanted to be with his guys. I think that's fine. And I support that, I support my guys, and I just support that. Now, with the part about these young guys, I think the argument that I always tell guys is when they're ready, we're ready, but we don't want to play them a play earlier than they're ready, right? So that's the hardest thing on defense, right? In my opinion, right? So you got to look at kids and say, when is he ready to play? When they're ready, we'll play them. If they're not ready, we're not going to play them. We're not just going to throw them out there, to do that. So we're excited about the young guys we have. We have 2 early enrollees. Those guys don't get a lot of reps in camp. The way we do development all year round, these guys are going to learn the playbook 4 or 5 times before the season starts. And I expect these guys to come here and compete for a job. I think if you don't recruit a kid and tell him he has a chance to compete for a job, not it's his job, then I think you do a disservice to those kids. So to me, it's always, have open competition. That's how you get better. Competition is what's make you better as a coach, as a player. I think the competition just helps out.